That's right, Ian. Hundreds of thousands of lives are on the line. And today, Special Envoy to Myanmar, Bob Rae, said Canada should take a lead role. About 1 million, mostly Muslim Rohingya, have fled majority Buddhist Myanmar, running from violent attacks that many are calling ethnic cleansing. Among Rae's 16 recommendations, a multi-year funding plan from Canada of about $150 million a year for humanitarian assistance, education, and infrastructure. He says Canada should signal a willingness to accept more Rohingya refugees, and he recommends a coordinated international investigation into crimes against humanity and genocide. Evan Dyer takes a closer look.
8 months after the exodus began, the Rohingya continue to flee. This group reached Malaysian waters yesterday. 1 million Rohingya are still living in precarious camps across the border in Bangladesh. Myanmar says they're foreigners and can't return.
It's clear that there's no intention to have a substantial return. In fact, right now they're building not only fences, but mining them and making it very difficult. Their whole process of so-called verification with regard to nationality is a highly dubious and frankly contrary to their international obligation.
Bob Rae says Canada should ramp up its assistance for the refugees in Bangladesh while also bringing some to Canada. He doesn't suggest how many.
It offers some symbolic, number one, symbolic assistance to Bangladesh itself, saying you are not alone in this. Other countries are going to step in and not only write checks, but actually share in the responsibility of protecting refugees.
The Trudeau government hasn't made any commitments. In a written statement today, the Prime Minister said, "In the coming weeks, we will assess the recommendations in this report and outline further measures we intend to take." Another theme in Bob Rae's report is the need for justice.
Terrible things have happened, and people need to be held responsible for what's happened. Having said that, it's not easy to do.
The Myanmar government is trying to make it even harder, systematically bulldozing villages it already burned, according to satellite images. This is the riverside village Myar Zin, as seen from space in December after all of its homes had been burned. Here's the same village in February. 4 backhoes can be seen removing any trace of what happened here. The idea of bringing justice to the perpetrators seems remote today, says Neve, but evidence should still be collected, and Canada can help.
We have too many decades around the world where we can point to crises where justice was overlooked, where justice was put aside to another day, and where that only fueled further abuses because it deepens the impunity.
Right now, though, Myanmar's rulers seem to have little to worry about, while its Rohingya brace for the coming monsoon rains. Evan Dyer, CBC News, Ottawa.
The reality the Rohingya face is literally 10,000 kilometers away. But while it may be distant, it is dire. The UN calls it the worst refugee crisis in decades. It's hard to fully appreciate how immense this crisis is until you fly above it. Last summer, this Rohingya camp had about 30,000 refugees. It now has more than 500,000, by far the largest refugee camp in the world. Calgary doctor Fazia Alvi wasn't content to watch. She went there to volunteer.
I braced myself hard before going there, but what I saw as a mother, as a doctor, as a human being, it was heart-wrenching. I saw lots of orphan children there. Their parents were killed in front of them. Their throats have been cut. I have seen lots of pregnant women whose husbands have been shot.
Under ragged tarps, precarious lives cling to the land. About 100,000 are too close to the water in one of the wettest places in the world.
We're extremely concerned about the upcoming monsoon season and how it will impact on very vulnerable refugee families.
The UN brought in their Hollywood star to amplify its message.
Even with the sandbagging, it's still a very dangerous situation that they're facing.
It's a race against the coming rains to build higher ground and get people there. Moving to wait again, waiting to move again. This is now life for the Rohingya. Alvi believes what happened to them was a genocide. She wants pressure on Myanmar increased.
If we don't do this, the Myanmar will come in the same chapter in our history book as Rwanda, Congo, and other UN failures are. So international community need to step up.